Please ignore the cat if it is bothering you, because it is meowing. But ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Thrashers Paradise, thrashing over the Skypes. I am joined with Ryan, who is the man in charge of the black metal band, A Flock Named Murder.
Yes, I am. Nice to meet you, Colin.
It was nice to finally meet you too. Now, I'm very curious to what made you want to call the project A Flock Named Murder for a black metal band.
Well, I'll say this because for a little while we were actually under the name Sovereign, right? Mm-hmm. And we had that name because, well, we wanted to be in control of our own sound. We wanted to be the ones who were calling the shots musically, so to speak, right? But we changed our name because if you go on Metal Archives and do a quick search, there's like a million bands named Sovereign. So, yeah, we're not going to get mixed in with all that bullshit. So we're A Flock Named Murder was actually the name of a song that currently is unreleased, but it was the name, one of our song names, and we decided to call the project that, and I think it fits us pretty well because, well, aside from it being a bit of a creative way to say a murder of crows, it also kind of represents us because crows in a way are very individualistic in nature, even though they're part of a group, right? And that kind of relates to us because even though we have clear influences with certain bands that we like, we still try to be a little bit different. We sort of set ourselves apart, and well, we feel like we set ourselves apart, and it seems like other people do too. So there's a little bit more to it as well. It's a bit of a weird, it's a deep meaning there.
Awesome. Now, was the rebranding a bit harder for the fans to get behind?
It was a little bit weird at first, right? Because a lot of people in Toronto especially knew us as Sovereign for a little while. And when we announced that we were changing our name, some people were like, wait, Ryan, it's a new project? And I'm like, no, it's the same band, all the same music, right? And then even a little bit afterwards, even after the album came out, someone was like, Ryan, I miss Sovereign. And I'm just like, we didn't go anywhere. We changed our name. Like, we're the same band. Chill. So, yeah, I mean, it seems like it was pretty well received, actually. A lot of the reviews that we've seen say that they like this name better and that it's a little bit more thought-provoking. And even though it was a change at first, it's one that I've grown to like better as well. So I think it was a good move.
I feel it was too. It's a brilliant name and definitely something that stands you out from the rest of the metal band, especially with the album cover for An Appointed Time. Now, what was that like to kind of release that album under your brand new name?
It was pretty interesting. I mean, it was one of those things, everything was happening pretty fast, right? Because we knew we needed to change our name for a little while, but we were being, well, very indecisive. We couldn't figure out what to call our band name, and we wanted to make sure we did it right? We didn't want to half-ass it and just wing something quick and then regret it later. So we finally decided on that name about a month before the album was set to come out. So it's like, here's a whole bunch of things happening quick, you know? New name, album's out, oh my god! You know, so, but it was a series of events that all, I think, led for the better, so.
Awesome. Now, the album came out Halloween of 2018. It's 5 songs and over an hour long. What made you, as a collective, want to have 5 songs, each averaging about, I want to say, 10 minutes in length each?
Well, it wasn't really so much of a goal as much as it is something that just happened, right? I mean, when I started putting together some of my own riffs, I had I had a little melody, I had some chord progressions and such, threw it together, and then I kept throwing things together until it ended up being a full song. And then I remember the first song that I ever wrote for the band, which at this point it's been rewritten. It's actually something that'll probably be on album 2 because we're still revising it. I remember tracking that on my computer. And my brother Cam, who's our drummer, he was watching the dog go through on Audacity, the recording, and he's like, Ryan, this is 13 minutes long, and I'm just like, oh, it's one of those songs. I thought it was yeah, so that sort of happened by accident, and well, it just is what it is. We tried writing shorter songs, and we're getting a little bit better at that, but clearly it's still a challenge, but it is what it is, and I think they're good, so.
Oh no, the songs are brilliant, and I love the album personally. Now, a year and a couple months now later from the release of the album to now, How's the reception been?
It's been quite positive overall. When the album came out initially, we had a lot of sales down Bandcamp. A lot of people were downloading it. We had a lot of good reviews. One guy compared us to bands like Yob and Inner Arma, which was a massive compliment because it's like those are bands that we love personally. And well, to say that we're sort of breaking the mold similar to the way they did was like, holy shit. I felt pretty nice. I was like, that's amazing. So, yeah, it's been very positive reception overall. People are liking it. I think they're realizing that it is something that's quite different, but different in a good way. Yeah.
Awesome. Now, you guys are based in Toronto, which happens to be one of the bigger metal scenes for us Canadians in the market. Now,
Yeah.
What for you is hard about trying to make yourself stand out in such a big market for metal?
I think it's just the sheer volume of bands, honestly. I mean, if you think, you guys are based in like what, Hamilton, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So you're probably, a little bit about the Toronto metal scene already and the GTA in a little bit. And there's just such a huge amount of bands, right? So many bands doing different things. I mean, you think, like, if I can just like name a few bands, you have a band like Sons of Bodis, and then you have Thanafaxap, which are complete opposites, but they're both very good at what they do. Then you have bands like Panzerfaust, and then even now there's a band Iomare that's like, they're all totally different. So how do we stand out? Well, I think it's one of those things you can't really force as much as you just write genuine music, and those who want to listen to it will click with it.
Now, for you as a black metal artist, do you think it's harder for you to try and make a name in that area, or do you think it makes it easier for you to make a name in that area?
It's a weird question because, in a way, I mean, we definitely have a lot of black metal in our sound, but we also draw upon a lot of other influences. So we've had a lot of people that are into like post metal and progressive metal, like our album as well. And so it's weird. Our music is challenging, and it's not necessarily something that's easy to digest in one lesson, just because there's so much there, right? There's a lot of layers, complex song structures, and all that. But at the same time, there's still enough spillover into different genres where it appeals to different fan bases as well. So it's a tough question to answer, actually.
All right. See, I apologize in advance because I'm just going off of the Facebook page, I believe.
Oh, it's okay.
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 Yeah, no. Personally, as a black and progressive metal fan, this album is totally up my alley, and when I first was listening to it, I thought it was absolutely brilliant. Just because it sounds different from the rest of the black metal in the area for local bands.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm glad you dig it. And I think we weren't really trying to force that. It's just something that sort of happened, really. So I'm glad that you're resonating with it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you are welcome. Now, I'd be dumb as a fan not to ask this, but when can we expect the next release from A Flock with Named Murder?
Well, given our current situation, it's going to be a little bit because we got to wait for this whole pandemic to blow over before we can get back to like any sort of recording or anything like that. But in terms of updates, we've got a lot of music, right? I mean, by time An Appointed Time came out, we already had like a whole second album structurally written, at least, right? We're still refining a few things there. And overall, we got a lot of music. So there definitely will be more from us. Once this blows over, it'll be easier to get rolling on that a little bit more consistently. In the meantime, I do have another project that you will hear from a little bit sooner, though. It's a bit of a side project, but became a little bit more serious. It's with my best friend who lives in the States. Her and I have been writing music together and recording over the past year and a bit. So that's called Veil of Pulsar. And, well, I won't give away too much of what it sounds like. There will be similarities to Flock, but it's also different, too. So that's something that you'll hear from definitely this year.
Well, I'm looking forward to hearing that, and we'll definitely bring you back on to help promote that, if you're cool with that.
Sure. I'll see if Sam wants to join it too. I think she'll be happy to talk about that too. Get three of us going.
Perfect. Let's do it. Now, with this whole quarantine thing going on, as a musician yourself, how have you been coping with it?
I've been doing what I can. I mean, I'm teaching my students online right now. I'm just still practicing, still writing. You know, I got my amp right there, just plugging in whenever I can, just making some tunes. And it's one of those things, it is what it is. We can't really do much about it until the whole thing sort of dies down. We just got to make the best out of what we got.
Awesome. Now, as soon as this thing blows over and A Flock Named Murder gets back to doing shows and producing stuff, where's one of the first places you want to perform at?
Well, we were looking, before this really started to go over, we were looking to play a little bit more out of town. We wanted to do some other places in Ontario. We originally had Guelph and London booked, but that fell through. And we were actually looking to go out east to Quebec as well. We were trying to see if we can make that work out. So, not sure where exactly we'll hit first, but we do want to get out of the Toronto area a little bit too.
Excellent. Start expanding and setting roots in other areas of the country. Respect that. Now, what's the 5-year plan?
5-year plan. That's a loaded question. Well, album 2 is definitely something that we want to get out within 5 years. I mean, hopefully sooner than that, because I mean, yeah. Well, tough to say. Definitely album 2. Definitely want to get more shows happening as well. More out of town stuff happening. So, not really sure actually.
Excellent. Now, the last question we usually ask all of our featured artists is a poser question, which we designed just specifically to ensure that we are talking to actual metalheads, because we don't want any posers on the show.
Okay.
Okay. So the question is simple: who would win in a fight, Lemmy or God?
Well, Lemmy would just be fighting himself.
That is correct. Ryan, thank you so much for taking time out of your extremely busy schedule to come on Thrashers Paradise today to do this interview. I really appreciate this. Is there anything else you'd like to let the people know at home about yourself or even the band?
Well, I mean, just keep your ears to the ground. You know, follow our Bandcamp for our music there, and also our record label, Flowing Downward. They got CDs on their page as well, so you can get them from there. It would be good to support them too, especially since they're based in Italy and things are a little bit hairy over there right now. So I'm sure they would probably appreciate that. In the meantime, keep your ear to the ground, stay safe, and do your best to stay grounded at a time like this. I mean, we got, this is the hand we're dealt with, so we gotta find a way to make the best of it. So
excellent, and make sure to follow A Flock Named Murder on their social medias, get their music on Spotify, Bandcamp, and all other sources. And until next time, keep on thrashing.